Welcome back, deep divers. We're diving headfirst into a topic that, let's be honest, we've all pondered at some point: how to tell if someone's feeding us a line.
Oh, absolutely. It's that age-old question, isn't it? Can we really know when someone's being truthful? I mean, whether it's a friend's excuse, a sales pitch, or even the news, we all want to be able to spot a lie.
Right. We want to feel like we can sort of cut through the noise and get to the truth. So, that's our mission today.
We're going on a journey tracing humanity's quest to figure out deception. From ancient methods that might sound a bit out there to today's cutting-edge technology, we'll explore the hows and whys of lying.
Exactly. And importantly, we're going to look at how reliable these different methods actually are. Like, do they really work?
And for this deep dive, we've gone broad. We've looked at historical records, psychological studies, and even the latest advancements in AI. It's like a fusion of history, science, and technology, all aimed at answering that one big question. Can we truly detect a lie?
Let's kick things off by going way back in time. When we look at the earliest attempts to figure out if someone was lying, things get, well, a little intense.
Oh, for sure. We're talking about ancient trials by ordeal.
Yeah.
I mean, the specifics might be a bit murky, but the basic idea is fascinating. It speaks volumes about how long we've been trying to figure this out.
It's like they were outsourcing truth-telling to some higher power, right? Like, okay, fate will decide if you're telling the truth.
Exactly. It was a time before scientific understanding of human behavior took hold. The idea was that truth would be revealed through these, well, often dangerous challenges. It's a far cry from how we approach things today.
It definitely is. And moving forward from those ancient trials, we start to see the emergence of ideas that feel a bit more familiar, like using body language to spot a liar, the classic shifty eyes, fidgeting, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's when we see a shift towards observing the individual. People started looking for outward signs, like little clues that might betray someone's inner deception. But as our research shows, the reliability of body language is, well, pretty shaky.
I can see that. What makes one person nervous might not even faze someone else.
Exactly. And cultural norms play a huge role, too. What's considered suspicious in one culture might be perfectly normal in another. So just focusing on a few twitches and fidgets, it's not exactly a foolproof method.
Not at all. So it seems like we need to go beyond these surface level observations, right? We need to understand the why behind the lie.
Absolutely. That's where psychology comes in. It provides us with much deeper insights into the motivations behind deception. And we found that the reasons people lie are surprisingly diverse.
So spill the beans. What drives people to fib?
Well, at a fundamental level, fear and self-preservation are huge motivators. I mean, think about it. People will lie to avoid punishment, dodge conflict, or even escape the sting of rejection.
It's like that one little lie can snowball, right? Leading to a whole web of deceit just to keep the story straight.
That's spot on. That need for consistency often pushes people to elaborate and invent further details. Ironically, this can make them easier to catch because the more complex a lie becomes, the harder it is to maintain. And then there's the need for approval, that desire to be seen in a positive light.
So someone might embellish their accomplishments or even fabricate entire experiences just to boost their image, right? Especially if they
Mhm.
struggle with self-esteem.
Exactly. It's like they're seeking validation from the outside because they might not feel so great about themselves on the inside.
I can definitely see that. And sometimes it seems like people lie just to make life a little smoother, like to avoid awkward social situations or to spare someone's feelings. Those little
Mm.
white lies, right?
Oh, those are definitely part of the equation. It's about maintaining control, avoiding potentially negative outcomes. And on a deeper level, lying can even be a defense mechanism. It's a way to shield oneself from vulnerability and the fear of rejection. It's about creating a safe space, even if it's built on deception.
It's interesting to think about the different levels at which lying can operate, from those little social lubricants to those more deep-seated psychological reasons. And our research also touched on some connections between lying and mental health, right?
Right. This brings up the concept of what's sometimes called pathological lying. It's associated with certain personality traits, and the motivations behind it can be more complex, less about external gain and more about internal struggles. Individuals might lie habitually, almost without any clear purpose or benefit.
So it's less about consciously manipulating others and more about something happening internally.
Exactly. And then there's the idea of lying as a way to regulate emotions, to cope with difficult feelings like guilt or anxiety.
It's like using a lie as a temporary shield against those uncomfortable emotions, even if it ultimately causes more harm in the long run.
Right. And that's the paradox. It might offer immediate relief, but the long-term consequences can be far more damaging. We also can't forget about impression management. This is about consciously shaping how others see you, perhaps to gain social status or maybe for personal gain.
It's like creating a carefully curated persona, even if it's not entirely authentic.
Exactly. And then, of course, you have the thrill seekers, those who get a kick out of the act of deception itself. They might enjoy manipulating others for their own amusement or even for personal gain.
I guess it all boils down to the fact that people lie for a whole bunch of reasons, from the mundane to the complex. So, no wonder it's so hard to pin down a single, universal, telltale sign of a lie.
Precisely. And that's why techniques like analyzing body language are often unreliable. But the research we looked at did highlight some psychological techniques that investigators use to try to get closer to the truth.
Like what? What are some of those techniques?
Well, many of them focus on the cognitive load of lying. You see, maintaining a lie takes mental effort. You're essentially juggling two realities, the truth and the fabrication. And that juggling act requires brain power.
So, it's more mentally taxing to lie than to tell the truth.
Exactly. And that extra mental effort can show up in subtle ways. For example, liars might pause slightly longer before answering a question, or they might provide fewer details than someone who's telling the truth. Their speech might even become more formal or rigid.
It's like their brain is working overtime to keep the story straight.
Exactly. And that's where techniques like asking unexpected questions or having someone recount events in reverse order come into play. These methods are designed to throw liars off their game because they disrupt the carefully constructed narrative.
It's like you're throwing a wrench into the well-oiled machinery of their lie.
You got it. An unexpected question can catch them off guard because they haven't rehearsed an answer for that specific line of inquiry. And asking someone to tell a story backwards, well, that's much harder to do if you're relying on a fabricated sequence of events than on genuine memory.
So you're essentially forcing their brain to work even harder, making it more likely that cracks will appear in their story.
Precisely. But even with these psychological strategies, the research emphasizes that there's no single foolproof sign that screams liar. It's more about looking for patterns and inconsistencies across multiple cues and considering the individual's baseline behavior.
So context is key. You can't just isolate one behavior and jump to conclusions.
Exactly. And this inherent difficulty in relying solely on human observation is what has fueled the pursuit of more objective technological solutions for lie detection.
Right. So we've gone from divine intervention to behavioral analysis, and now we're stepping into the realm of technology. Polygraphs, brain scans, AI. It's like a whole new era of lie detection.
Absolutely. And each technology comes with its own set of promises and limitations. Take the polygraph, for instance. It's probably the most well-known lie detection technology, but it's also highly controversial.
Okay, break it down for us. How does the polygraph work, and why is it so debated?
Well, the polygraph measures physiological responses like heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, and skin conductivity. The underlying theory is that lying triggers a stress response in the body. These physiological changes are then recorded and analyzed for signs of deception. However, our research highlighted a key point. The reliability of the polygraph is a subject of ongoing debate.
So it's not as clear-cut as some crime dramas might make it seem.
Not at all. Factors like a person's anxiety levels, whether they're using countermeasures to try to beat the test, and even the examiner's own interpretation can all affect the results.
So it's not a foolproof system, and there are ways to game it or misinterpret the data. What about more advanced technologies like brain imaging with fMRI? What do those offer?
fMRI is really interesting because it allows us to actually visualize brain activity in real time. Studies have shown that different areas of the brain light up when someone is lying compared to when they're telling the truth. Specifically, regions associated with cognitive control and conflict monitoring tend to be more active during deception.
So neuroscience is giving us a window into the brain's inner workings during a lie. That's pretty amazing.
It is. But while this research is fascinating, using fMRI for lie detection outside of a controlled lab setting is still very limited. It's expensive, the equipment is complex, and it requires specific conditions that are hard to replicate in real-world situations.
So not exactly something we'll be seeing in every courtroom anytime soon.
Right. Now, the newest kid on the block is artificial intelligence. AI is being explored for its potential to detect lies by analyzing everything from subtle facial expressions to voice patterns and even typing rhythms.
AI that can read our faces and hear the lies in our voices? That sounds straight out of science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? But these AI systems are being developed and trained on massive data sets of deceptive and truthful behaviors, all with the goal of identifying patterns that might be too subtle for us humans to pick up on. The promise here is that AI could potentially analyze this complex data quickly and consistently.
So it's like having a super-powered lie detector that never gets tired or biased.
Well, not quite. And that's a critical point highlighted in our research. There are major ethical and practical concerns about relying on AI to judge human honesty. How do we ensure these systems are accurate across different cultures and populations? And how do we prevent bias from creeping into the algorithms? These are crucial questions we need to answer before we start handing over such sensitive judgments to machines.
It's a bit unsettling to think that a machine could one day be deciding whether we're telling the truth or not.
It definitely raises some big questions about privacy, fairness, and accountability.
Big questions indeed. And, as we've explored all these different approaches, from ancient rituals to cutting-edge technology, one thing seems clear. The quest for a foolproof lie detector continues.
Absolutely. Deception is a complex human behavior. It's shaped by our emotions, our cultures, our individual personalities. It's not a simple equation with a single solution.
So after diving deep into all this research, what's your take on it all? Are we any closer to cracking the code of lie detection?
I think what we've learned is that while technology offers exciting new tools for analysis, there's no magic bullet. We can't just plug someone into a machine to get a definitive truth or lie readout.
So where does that leave us?
I think the most effective approach involves a combination of things. We need critical thinking when evaluating information, careful observation of behavior within its context, and a deep understanding of human psychology.
It sounds like our own judgment and understanding of human nature still play a crucial role.
Absolutely. We can't discount the power of human intuition and experience.
It's a fascinating conclusion, and it makes you wonder. When faced with a situation where you suspect someone isn't being truthful, would you trust your gut feeling or put more faith in science and technology? It's a tough call.
It really is. It's a question that speaks to our fundamental need to understand and trust each other.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of lie detection. It's been a journey through history, science, and technology, all in the pursuit of that elusive truth.
And as we wrap up, I think it's worth pondering this. Given all the complexities we've uncovered, what does our relentless pursuit of a perfect lie detector say about our relationship with truth and trust in an increasingly complex world? And as technology continues to evolve, how might our understanding of truth and deception continue to change along with it? That's something to think about as we move forward.
It certainly is. Food for thought for all our deep divers out there. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.